initially transition into being an entrepreneur? I mean, what are some of the maybe the thoughts that you guys had, and what were ways that you specifically got started on your first thing, so that way we can have a little bit more of a roadmap?
I dropped out. That's not a very good thing to sit in front of a panel of students here, but I mean, the truth is that unfortunately there's a point in time when you're going to have an idea, something that you think of that you just cannot get out of your head. There's one of two ways that you can go. One is try to find the best avenue within your institution to try and build that idea further while still getting education. The other is to drop out. And because I didn't have the tools necessary at the place that I was at, which was just a community college, and I hadn't yet finished any of my degrees or anything of the sort, I only had the one choice, which was to get out of there. And so, you have to take that leap at some point in time, and I liken it to running off the edge of a cliff without any idea of whether or not you have a parachute on your back, and just trusting that you do. And the basis is that sometimes you have to build that parachute out of the clothes that are on your back, but sometimes it works. And so after dropping out, I got a job just so I could work nights and just so I could work on my idea nights and weekends, and it eventually paid off. But sometimes you do have to take that first initial risk leap, and if you're not willing to do that, then I don't know that anybody could call yourselves an entrepreneur in that case.
I'll give a slightly alternative viewpoint. Don't drop out if you're at Stanford, because I think Stanford's one of the best places. If you're studying a company, it's one of the best places you could possibly be for a number of reasons. First, there's a ton of really great courses you can take there on entrepreneurship. Like Tom Kosnick back here has a course called Global Entrepreneurial Marketing. Excellent course. You should take that if you haven't. There's dozens of others you can learn, from top VCs and top CEOs in the Valley on how to actually start a company. Also, just the fact that you're a Stanford student gives you a lot of access. Like, you may not realize, but you can pretty much call up anyone and say, I'm a Stanford student working on a project. They don't have to know it's your company. It's just a project you're working on for Stanford. And people will open up to you and really want to help you out. So I think the fact that you're at Stanford, make use of it while you're there, because after I left, I realized it was much harder to sort of get the same levels of access to really high quality people. So yeah, make the most of it.
I look at Matt's cliff as a really steep slope instead. I was sort of pre-programmed to do startups, weird childhood crap. But I didn't found something for almost a decade after coming to Valley. But if you sign up with the right crazy founders, the number of 5 or 6 person, the stuff you'll figure out in this first couple of years, going on a dream with that person will, teach you a lot of what Matt was just talking about. And the other guy's name is Matt too, right? The SSE guy, the gentleman who was just speaking before you.
Cameron.
Sorry, Cameron. Bad name. So what Cameron was saying, a lot of the benefits of that you can get by being employee 4, 5, 6 in something that gets to 20 even if it flames out. And do that once or twice, and your confidence level and your likelihood of making really stupid errors goes way down.
To get a sense for who's out there, who's more positioned in the employee or founders 1, 2, or 3? Employee number 1, 2, or 3. So hands, who people who think they're founders 1, 2, 3 or are, and other people who are like 4 to 10-ish. Like, I'm going to join a startup before I start a startup.
So, I mean, that speaks a little bit to, I like Scott saying that he was like, weird childhood crap led him to be that. When I think of my first entrepreneurial efforts,
big tech companies laying my father off and looking into space.
Same thing. I grew up in Fremont, California. My dad worked for like every awesome tech company in the world. Commodore Computing, jeez. So I saw a lot of that stuff, and for me it was, I convinced a church group that I could print all their T-shirts and design it and do all sorts of design and things like that. And if you're an entrepreneur and you have the idea and you know how to code, I seriously envy you, because I can only code terribly, but I can design a little bit and use that entrepreneurial wisdom to kind of guide and iterate. So I think
that same question. I think you're probably doing it now or you're not. And it's pretty clear whether or not you're in that entrepreneurial mindset. And I've met with so many entrepreneurs over the years who are like, how do I just get started? And it's like, you'd know, you'd be doing it right now, you'd be talking about it, you'd be living the dream, you'd be eating ramen, you would be, giving up your salary and all sorts of terrible, horrible things that you need to do to get there. So you're either in it or you're not, and it's a big switch to realize, like, oh my God, I'm that guy. I'm the guy who loves and gets the thrill off of, working with three sweaty dudes in an attic or something, or whatever the thing is. Maybe that's a different dream.